20 minutes in. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Now, before we get started, you are now a host, so you should be able to see anybody coming in trying to get online, right? And we got somebody here, and we're just getting started. Want to make sure that everything is going through as best to the best of our ability, so that when people are reading, then everyone can hear it on YouTube as well as on our Zoom, so that
I can't hear anything. I can't hear you.
he can't hear anything. Am I muted?
Yes.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Good. All right, so we'll make sure that everyone can hear both on YouTube and on our Zoom channel, and I think we got that all taken care of now. So welcome to the Ark of the Assembly, the Ark of the Covenant Assembly. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Got to make the adjustment here. We're making all kinds of adjustments. So right now we're 2 weeks away from Feast of Weeks. And so doing that, we're gonna start next week. I will be traveling, but I still plan on trying to get together. Next week we're traveling. Still plan on trying to get together with you guys online. So here we open up our magic cabinet. Hallelujah. So welcome to the Ark, everybody. I'm glad that you're here. Hopefully that we come together and we grow up a little bit together. So a few things have happened this week that has sparked me to think about us as a people and how to hold on. There's the light behind me. How to help us as a people. Yahushua says, I said welcome, right? I want to make sure I get my welcomes into everybody. Yahushua said that we are to love our neighbor as ourselves, and to love Yah with all of our heart and all of our might and all of our being. One of our hardest feats in life is learning to love our neighbors, the ones that are in our house and those that are joined to Israel and Israel itself. And so learning to love is a big problem that we have. I saw a meme the other day, and it showed a picture of a person smiling as someone walked past, and the caption says he was smiling at the powers that be, or the goyim. And then it showed the same picture of the same person frowning at the next person showing up, which was one of us. And a lot of us have that tendency of putting getting angry with each other and fighting with each other as opposed to learning to love each other. But then when we're around the I almost say enemy, when we're around the heathen, we put a smile on our face and make sure that we don't hurt their feelings. And if we say something that may have hurt their feelings, we are all apologetic. Like, oh, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. But meanwhile, when we come home and it becomes a something different. So yeah, Yahweh says, Yahushua says that we're to love. Yahushua says that we are to love our neighbors as ourselves and to love Yah with all of our heart and all our might. And then Yah himself says, my people perish for lack of, what do they lack of? Knowledge. So as I'm going through my dilemma with what to speak, what to talk about today, and listening and observing our people, and I thought there's an issue that we have, and it needs to be addressed. And we talked about last week keeping the um, um, oh my goodness, what is the thing I was talking about last week? The vow, the Nazarite vow, keeping the Nazarite vow. And then I thought, you know what, that is good. You need to keep the Nazarite vow if you can. But a lot of us haven't gotten past um, being kind, loving, and caring for each other. And you're like, I want to go deeper. So I'm going to take you we're going to do a small walk through a few verses, actually. There's going to be more than a few verses. And it's going to be about fixing this problem. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Hallelujah. Abba Father, we're grateful for this day. Toda Rabah, for being who you are, for loving us and yet thinking about Israel and pulling us back to yourself, calling us, waking us from our slumber, sleep, and breathing life into us again. You said that we must be born again, Yah. We must get rid of all of the old stuff, and it's all got to be done afresh, anew. And then you started with the covenant by saying, let's restore this. Let's get everything back together. And so you have shown us and given us a footprint to walk in. Help us to walk in those footprints and to be obedient by your grace and by your love, Yah. We are so grateful that you've given us yet another opportunity to come together as the ark of the covenant assembly to worship you and look at you at your words and to study to show ourselves approved. May Yah be glorified. May everyone be edified, and may Yahushua be magnified. In Yahshua's name, we pray. Hallelujah. Back to the top. Let's go. Shema Israel. Shema Israel. Hold on. Telahim 18.
Our reader isn't here today.
What's that?
Our reader isn't here today.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Thank you, Toda. Why are you going to read? You want to get this in. You want to get hand me my Bible that's left it in there, the Torah.
Please put on for that. Getting testing right now for COVID.
What's that?
Benjamin and his mom are on their way back.
Okay.
COVID. He's okay.
That's the one you told me.
Oh, that's long. Hallelujah. That's not over. It's just going on and on. I'll bring her back. All right. Telahim 18. You want to read?
Mm-hmm.
You sure? You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will love you, O Yahuwah, my strength. Yahuwah is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my El, my strength, in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my Yeshua and my high tower. I will call upon Yahuwah, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of wicked men made me afraid. The sorrows of Sheol compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress, I called upon Yahuwah and cried unto my Elohim. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. His siku round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. And the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Yahuwah also thundered in the heavens, and El Elyon gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. Yea, he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings and discomforted them. Then the channels of waters were seen, and the foundations of the world were discovered at your rebuke, O Yahuwah, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils. He sent from above, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. They prevented me in the day of my calamity, but Yahuwah was my stay. He brought me forth also into a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me. Yahuwah rewarded me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands has he recompensed me. For I have guarded the ways of Yahuwah and have not wickedly departed from my Elohim. For all his judgments were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was also upright before him, and I guarded myself from my iniquity. Therefore has Yahuwah recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyesight. With the merciful you will show yourself merciful. With an upright man you will show yourself upright. With the pure you will show yourself pure, and with the forward you will show yourself forward. For you will save the afflicted people, but will bring down high looks. For you will light my candle, Yahuwah Elohai will enlighten my darkness. For by you I've run through a troop, and by my Elohim have I leapt over a wall. As for El, his way is perfect. The word of Yahuwah is tried. He is a buckler to all those that trust in him. For who is Elohai save Yahuwah? Or who is a rock save our Elohim? It is El that girds me with strength and makes my way perfect. He makes my feet like hinds' feet and sets me upon my high places. He teaches my hands to war, so that a bow of steel is broken by my arms. You have also given me the shield of your salvation, and your right hand has held me up, and your gentleness has made me great. You have enlarged my steps under me, that my feet did not slip. I have pursued my enemies and overtaken them. Neither did I turn again till they were consumed. I have wounded them that they were not able to rise. They are fallen under my feet. For you have girded me with strength unto the battle. You have subdued under me those that rose up against me. You have also given me the necks of my enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me. They cried, but there was none to save them, even unto Yahuwah, but he answered them not. Then did I beat them small as the dust before the wind. I did cast them out as the dirt in the streets. You have delivered me from the strivings of the people, and you have made me the head of the heathen. A people whom I have not known shall serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they shall obey me. The strangers shall submit themselves unto me. The strangers shall fade away and be afraid out of their places, out of their close places. Yahuwah lives, and blessed be my rock, and let the Elohim of my Yeshua be exalted. It is El that avenges me and subdues the people under me. He delivers me from my enemies. Yea, you lift me up above those that rise up against me. You have delivered me from the violent man. Therefore I will give thanks unto you, O Yahuwah, among the heathen, and sing praises unto your name. Great deliverance gives he to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, to David and to his seed forever.
Does that give you goosebumps? If you can cry upon Yah, cry to Yah, and he will literally hear you and come out. It sounds like he's coming out like a bull out of out of his stall, ready to trample over anything in front of him. Hallelujah. Yahweh restores me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in my hands. He has recompensed me. That's verse 20. I dropped down to verse 30 and it says, as for El, his way is perfect. The word of Yahweh is tried. He is a buckler to all those who trust in him. No matter how big the enemy may seem, verse 17, he just delivered me from the strong enemy and from them that hated me. They cried unto him for salvation to be saved, and he didn't even hear them. That's crazy. Verse 42, 41.
In the earlier verse, it said buckler.
Yes.
That means shield.
His shield. Yes. And then at the end, he talks about what salvation truly is. At the end, the ones that were ruling over us shall now be our servants. Nobody want to talk about that? Hallelujah. So, yes, we praise him. Yes, we love him. Yes, we worship him. Yes, we adore him. And we do this by being obedient. By keeping our hands clean. By realizing and acknowledging him for being who he is. All right, we're going to move forward. Shema Israel. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim is one, and thou shalt love the Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all their might. Deuteronomy 6:4-9. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently to thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hands, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thine heart and upon thy gates. Hallelujah. That's in English. Ima is going to read it in Hebrew. Shema Israel.
Shema Yisra'el, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. V'hafta Yahuwah Eloheka, B'kol Levaka, U'kol Nefishka, U'kol Mildeka. V'heyu Hadavarim, Ha'ela Asher Anuki, Matzavava Hayam Al Kaliyaveka. V'shenatam Levan Levinica Vedobartam Bam, Vishivtika, Vivektika, Uvlektika, Vederik Ushuk, Baha Uv Komeka, Kashar Tamli Leo Ali Adeka, Vaheyu Latodafo, Bin Ineka, Uvtav Tom Al Mizio, Beteka Uvish Areka.
Hallelujah. So, all right, my people perish for lack of knowledge. In the book of Ezra, I often go back there because they had lost their way. They had lost the scribes, the books. And so since they lost the books, they when they found them and they started reading them, they're like day and night. They stood there and listened to the books being read. Someone said today, I saw this yesterday, I believe. Someone says something pertaining to the founder of the Church of God in Christ, who acknowledged us as being Israelites. This is like the early part of the 1900s. And when this happened, the FBI put them on alert. They started watching them, and they locked them up actually for teaching heresy against their nation. You know, you can't. It's almost impossible to rise up as a nation in the midst of a nation when you start saying who you are. So that being said, Nehemiah and us finding out who we are, and someone sees this and they're like, so what's the point? Well, it's real clear that if you know who you are, then you start making the adjustments. So when they read the book in Nehemiah, they automatically start making adjustments. When you start reading the book and find out who you are, some of your teachings are going to sound crazy to the world around you because they're following the law. I entitled this, "We the people of the book ought to know the law." I was looking at a movie, binging The Underground. And there was one scene that I want to talk about real quick while we get into the text. There was one scene where they had a little boy and they said this boy was very intelligent, little Hebrew. And so the white people brought him up and they're like, all right, recite the Declaration of Independence. And in front of them, they wanted him to put on a show. We the people. Well, when you start reading that and you start reciting it and you start believing it, you need to do some research, because we the people were never the people. We weren't considered people. We were considered property. So when they penned "we the people," that was not for us. And when we use it now, we think, oh, we the people. Freedom, we got and the more, I said this last week, the more you believe that we the people, they're going to show you you're not the people. They're going to show you who the people are and who are not the people. Just yesterday, I look at the news and I'm like, we just got over this 1 year of everybody complaining about the man with the knee on the neck, with them finding him guilty. In Philadelphia, they put up a big painting on the side of a building about "we the people." And I keep telling you, we're not the people. They covered that thing up, they whitewashed it, and they labeled it "white people the people." Whatever. They put their labels all over it. And I was like, oh man, you try to do that and deface some of their idols that they place, and see what happens. They will tear gas you, rubber bullet you, and live fire you, and get you back in your place and tell you don't come out after 8 o'clock. They'll put you on the curfew, because we are not the people. All right. So today I want to talk about the law, because we know that we've read through the 10 Commandments. We've done teachings on the 10 Commandments. And some people say, well, there were 600 and some laws in the Bible, and we can't keep up. Okay, slow your roll. Because there's some things that we should still keep. And every time you turn on the crazy thing, the TV, you see people not keeping the law, our law. I'm going to get to the text, because there are laws in the New Jersey that are not valid in another state. There's laws in certain states that are not valid in New Jersey. Back they just are looking at the laws in California with carrying guns. It was okay to carry guns until black people started carrying guns, right? Until we started defending ourselves. And they're like, time out! Time out! Ronald Reagan, they said time out, and they start changing laws. It's like, you can't carry a gun, open carry a gun in our state, California. Now California's changing the law. And every time they change the law, it's against us, for the most part. All right, now, there was a people that were sojourning through the land, and people knew who these people were. We the people. And when these people traveled through, they said they have a God working for them. What we just read, Tehillim 18, right? And they were scared of these people because of their their higher power. But they also said these people have great laws and are very regal people. They're very, their laws are unmatchable, can't be matched. They're beyond anything that we've had. And so what they've learned to do is to peep over the fence, look over the fence and say, "Oh, I like that law. I like that law. I like that law." And they took all the laws and said, "Let's try to use them for ourselves." But the heathen can't keep himself in subjective to the law, so he starts changing the laws. So at one time, it was here in America, it was illegal to do Christmas. And they were like, "No, we like Christmas. We like Santa Claus." Change the law. And now it's readily accepted. You can't get up on December, in these November, December, anytime before and after Thanksgiving without hearing Christmas music because they've changed the law. Our law does not change. So when you read through, when we get there, I'm going to, yes, Numbers 16. Numbers 29. Now, I want to show you some of the laws that we had, and we still should be, and some of them we still try to apply, but we try to do it. We try to, it's a bad mixture. We try to mix Yah's laws with man's laws, and it comes together and it gets twisted. Okay. I'm looking at my time because, all right, let's go to 30. We're only going to do this chapter real quick because we were talking about keeping vows, and I wanted to talk about this real quick, and then we're going to look at some of our laws. I want to ask Imal to read for me because she's right here in front of me. Bar Midbar, which is Numbers, chapter 30, verse 1. It's 16 verses. It's real easy, real short. And Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Yisra'el, saying, "This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded," not suggested, commanded. Okay, verse 2.
If a man vow a vow unto Yahuwah, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. If a woman also vow a vow unto Yahuwah, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she has bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand.
Okay, hold on. So just the first 4 verses. We as a people, our word ought, we've heard this before, our word is our bond. Our word ought to hold up to our character. If I say it, it should actually be according to the law, according to the commandment given to me by Yah. If I make a vow, not just if I make a vow, a promise, a commitment, then I should be doing everything I can do within my means to make that happen. If I sign a contract, then by law, if I break the contract, then somebody coming after me. Your word ought to be like a signature. The contracts are only written for the unrighteous. If everyone was righteous, there would be no need for a contract. Do you see that where we are? Everything that we do anymore, and even in churches where there's supposed to be righteous people, we all walk around with contracts. Sign this right here, saying that you're going to do such and such. And then it talks about the woman, the young woman, and it says young, intending for you to consider someone that's still growing. Youth. It's a matter of someone that's still in their house and they're trying to figure life out. And they're like, I just made this commitment. And they come home and they have dinner and daddy's listening. If dad listens and says nothing, the commitment goes forth strong. But if dad says something not right about that, I don't agree with that. The commitment is void. That's heat bread. That's the way we do it. All right, come on, verse 5.
But if her father disallow her in the day that he hears, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand, and Yahuwah shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. And if she had at all a man when she vowed, or uttered aught out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her man heard it and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her man allowed her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of no effect, and Yahuwah shall forgive her.
You know how this works? It works if you walk in transparency. If you're not hiding and doing stuff that you don't want people to know, or you got a cocky attitude and you're like, I'll do it my way, and I don't have to tell him anything. But if you have a submissive attitude towards your parents, and you're doing things and everybody is listening and it's all open, no secrets, right? Then you'll be able to actually live this law out and this commandment out. And I love the way he starts it out, because he didn't start it out with a suggestion. When you get to Paul in the New Testament, you get a lot of suggestions, you get a lot of maybes. I kind of feel this way. Maybe you should do it this way. That's not in the Old Testament, not in the Tanakh. And it's not, or in, what do they call it? The first 5 books, the Pentateuch. It's solid and firm. All right, so let's finish. This is mostly about you keeping your word.
Verse 9. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her man's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her man heard it and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her man has utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her man has made them void, and Yahuwah shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her man may establish it, or her man may make it void. But if her man altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows or all her bonds which are upon her. He confirms them, because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall anyways make them void after that he has heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes which Yahuwah commanded Moshe between a man and his woman, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house.
Okay, so this was just what I'm going to do. What I'm looking to do today is just point out some standards to live by, some laws that were given to us, and how if we pay attention to these laws, we will actually, it'll be better for you. Your life will be better. The problem is, just like in Nehemiah's day, people had gotten away from the book or they had lost track of the text. And so they really didn't, I think it was in Judges, it says everybody was going about doing whatever was right in their own eyesight. We have the law in front of us. We've read through the text in Psalms 18. It says that his law is perfect. So if we need to look at the law and say, okay, these are our laws. This is how we live. Because if you don't and you follow man's laws, you're going down a ditch. Okay, so we say we keep certain days, certain holidays, and certain holidays we don't. You know, we pass through. I've learned in my walk, I pass through these holidays like just another day, the holidays. But I pay a very close attention to Yah's days, because Yah's days are the days that they don't change. They're the days that we should recognize. If you start following man's days, this month you will be gay pride in it. Because now June is gay pride month. And guess what's happening this month? They're changing more laws to persuade people to better. You guys can still hear me, right? I'm looking at a mute button.
Yes.
Okay. These laws that they're getting ready to change are all for the gay pride, gay whatever, that the LGBTQ, name the letters. I'm sure there's a Q in there or a J. So let's go back, and we're going to just walk. I want to just walk through a couple of things, because we're getting ready to, in 2 weeks, keep the Feast of Weeks. Let's go to Bar Mitzvah. Deuteronomy 16. Bar Mitzvah, huh? I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong word. Devarium. Deuteronomy 16.
16?
Yes.
Okay.
16 is going to really just kind of warm us up and get us into 17. But 16 is like, you got to read it, because this is where I've already learned that if we don't read it together, we won't read it. And I want to make sure everybody reads this. I'm making it very clear. Deuteronomy, Devarium 16, verse 1. Guard
the month of Aviv, and keep the Pesach unto Yahuwah Eloheka. For in the month of Aviv, Yahuwah Eloheka brought you forth out of Mitzrayim by night. You shall therefore sacrifice the Pesach unto Yahuwah Eloheka of the flock and the herd, in the place where Yahuwah shall choose to place his name there. You shall eat no shamets with it. 7 days you shall eat matzah therewith, even the bread of affliction. For you came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, that you may remember the day when you came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. And there shall be no shamets seen with you in all your coasts 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh which you sacrifice the first day at evening remain all night until the morning. You may not sacrifice the Pesach within any of your gates, which Yahuwah Eloheka gives you. But at the place which Yahuwah Eloheka shall choose to place his name in, there you shall sacrifice the Pesach at evening, at the going down of the sun, at the season that you came forth out of Mitzrayim. And you shall roast and eat in the place which Yahuwah Eloheka shall choose, and you shall turn in the morning and go into your tents. 6 days shall you eat matzah, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahuwah Eloheka. You shall do no work therein.
And now we're getting ready to come into where we are, the 7th week, 2 more weeks from now. Verse 9.
9. 7 weeks shall you number unto you. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as you begin to put the sickle to the grain. And you shall keep the feast of Shavuot unto Yahuwah Eloheka with the tribute of a freewill offering of your hand, which you shall give unto Yahuwah Eloheka according as Yahuwah Eloheka has blessed you. And you shall rejoice before Yahuwah your Elohim, you and your son and your daughter and your manservant and your maidservant and the Levi that is within your gates, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are among you, in the place which Yahuwah your Elohim has chosen to place his name there. And you shall remember that you were a bondman in Mitzrayim, and you shall guard and do these statutes. And you shall rejoice in your feast, you and your son and your daughter and your manservant and your maidservant and the Levi, the stranger and the fatherless and the widow that are within your gates. 7 days shall you keep a solemn feast unto Yahuwah your Elohim in the place which Yahuwah shall choose, because Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in all your increase and in all the works of your hands. Therefore you shall surely rejoice. 3 times a year shall all your males appear before Yahuwah your Elohim in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of Matzah, and in the feast of Shavuot, and in the feast of Sukkot, and they shall not appear before Yahuwah empty.
Okay, so we got 3 days that we must show up, and the feast of Shavuot is the second one, and that's another one where we come and we bring offerings. Right now, we're looking at, making some phone calls on Monday. I'm looking at renting out a park for Shavuot, so that we can all come together and we can have a picnic in the park. The reason why is that has touched me in that way is because during the Pentecost, it was done in the open air. It was outside, and it was done when the fire came down and everyone started speaking in tongues, and it was outdoor exposure. So everyone saw it, and it was very pronounced and very clean. And that's why I'm thinking about doing it. So I'll get my phone calls in Monday and see if I can get a hold of the park, and we come out to the park and keep that day outside. That would be great. What verse are we in?
17.
Verse 17.
Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of Yahuwah Eloheka, which he has given you. Judges and officers shall you make you in all your gates, which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you, throughout your tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. You shall not wrest judgment. You shall not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift blinds the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shall you follow, that you may live, and inherit the land which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you. You shall not plant an Asherah pole of any trees near unto the altar of Yahuwah your Elohim, which you shall make. Neither shall you set up any image which Yahuwah your Elohim hates.
Okay. if you are married, even if you're not married, if your spouse or the person that you are engaged or desiring to marry are together, the last thing you would do is something that you thought with that person hated. Like, even if you like doing it, you're like, well, I know I really like going ice skating, but she don't like going ice skating. Guess what? I'm not going ice skating. If I go, I'm not going there with her. I'm not saying I'm going ice skating because she's like, I don't like ice skating. And you continue that because Yah says, don't do certain things because I hate it. I despise it. It makes me sick. I can't stand it. And you know what? The heathens do the very thing that we are told not to do. Watch it, because this it starts out here. He went through, Kevin, telling us what feast days to keep. Bang, 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 bang. And then he says, like in the same chapter, don't do this. One thing, I can't stand it. Don't have false images in front of me. Don't plant Asher's poles or any, like they call it a tree here. Don't do anything that's going to just tick me off. And if you love Yah, like Yahshua said, you're supposed to love him with all your heart and your might and soul. So if you love him and you love your neighbor as you do yourself, then you're not going to do something that in this verse says that Yah says, I hate. We're going there because now we're going to start seeing some guidelines for living. The Yah is like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. These are now commandments. And matter of fact, this is a commandment, but it sounds like it's more than just a commandment. It's something I hate. It's like it's one thing for you to tell your children not to do something, and they're like, okay, I'm not going to do that because daddy said don't do it. But then the kid says, I almost wanted to curse. Thank you, Dad. I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, what? Did he just say what I thought he said? Right? You're not going to. Okay, so Yah says don't do this. And we are like, we don't care. Let's go to 17. Because I'm telling you, if you just pay a little bit of attention, you're going to start seeing why we so jacked up. Why are we so jacked up? Most of us, when we see people shooting and we see people running over each other with cars and doing all kinds, they've already started. They've already passed step one. All right, let's go.
You shall not sacrifice unto Yahuwah your Elohim any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoriteness, for that is an abomination unto Yahuwah Eloheka.
Okay, so we're starting at verse 1. By the time the end of the Old Testament, by the time we get to the end, people have started giving Yah anything. Instead of making sure that the bullock was unblemished, making sure the sheep was clean. They're like, I'll keep this one and I'm gonna make a lot of money off of that one. This one, walking with a limp, I don't like that one, and it's ugly, and but I'll give that to Yah. Okay, watch how it goes, because this is where we got. This is where we are today. When now he says 3 times we meet him and give a feast, come to the feast, and we bring an offering, and we're like, well, I got to do this first, and then I'm not talking about money, but then when we get to the offering, and we start thinking half. All right, it's a blemish offering. Go back to the very beginning. Very beginning, it was a blemish offering with Cain and Abel. Verse 2.
If there be found among you within any of your gates with Yahuwah, which Yahuwah Eloheka gives you, man or woman that has wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah Eloheka in transgressing his covenant, and has gone and served other Elohim and worship them, either the sun or moon or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told you, and you have heard of it, and inquire diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought in Israel.
Okay, so somebody is going out worshiping the sun, the moon, the host of heavens, false Elohims. And when this happens, if you know this is happening, your next step is to diligently search it out to find out if this is true. And if you do find it out to be true, verse 5.
Then shall you bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto your gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die.
Now, we don't do that today because they would say that you really lost your mind. But we still can point it out and say, that's not tav, and it's not going to be accepted here. And this is why we say our assembly is not an open format for anybody and everybody comes in, be as you are and do what you want. No, this is a set apart assembly. And we don't expect, if we find out that you're worshiping false gods and you're doing anything, we will first examine it. And if we find that out to be true, you got to go. We can't kill you because the law of this land won't let us. But you can't assemble with us. 6.
At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death.
So we don't take the word of one person in any matter. You got to show us 2 people got to come back and say, we both check this thing out and found this out to be true. Because if not, we'll end up listening to somebody that doesn't like him. I don't like him, so I'm gonna make him look like he's serving some false god, and we're gonna get rid of him. 8.
If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within your gates, then shall you arise and get you up into the place which Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose. And you shall come unto the priest, the Leviim, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show you the sentence of judgment. And you shall do according to the sentence which they of that place which Yahuwah shall choose shall show you. And you shall guard to do according to all that they inform you, according to the sentence of the Torah which they shall teach you, and according to the judgment which they shall tell you, you shall do. You shall not decline from the sentence which they shall show you to the right hand nor to the left. And if any man that will do presumptuously and will not hearken unto the priest that stands to minister there before Yahuwah Eloheka, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and you shall put away the evil from Yisra'el. And all the people shall hear and fear and do no more presumptuously. When you are coming to the land which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. You shall in any wise set him king over you, whom Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose. One from among your brethren shall you set king over you. You may not set a stranger over you, which is not your brother.
Hold up. This is the problem that we're going to start seeing some problems that have invaded us. So he's just started talking about setting up a king because he knows our hearts are like, I want to be like them. They got a king, and we don't have a king. But we don't have a king. I want a king. And then he says, okay, I know where your heart's going. I know you're going to look for a king, but if you decide to go here, I want to give you some guidelines for living. You don't let the heathen reign over you. Let me say it again. You don't let the heathen reign over you. I don't think that you got it. Black people in white church, you don't let the heathen reign over you. That's so against what Yah says. He's making it very clear. They don't reign. That's why it's a sin for us to join an assembly and have a white pastor if you're an Israelite. Let's read verse 16. And now he's going, before we get back, now he's going to tell you, even if you have a king, what is his requirements? What is his guidelines? Like if you're going to give somebody the rule over you, even that person has a standard that he has to live by. Verse 16.
But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Mizraim, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as Yahuwah has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply women to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sits upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of his Torah in a sefer out of that which is before the priest of the Leviim. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Yahuwah Eloheinu, to guard all the words of this Torah and these statutes to do them.
Okay, so he has a standard to live by. He don't have. Okay, we know that that there was most men of certain standards. If they could afford it, they had multiple wives. But he said, if you're a king, you're not to have multiple. Like, don't overdo it like Solomon did, right? Don't get yourself horses. Today's terminology, jets. Lear jets. I want me 5 jets, and I want this. No, you're not supposed to, as the leader, as the king. I'm going to make it real clear that I'm not changing things up. As the king, you're not to multiply your horses. You're not to multiply your wives, and you're not to take so much gold that you're taxing the people to keep you going. He makes it very clear. And then if he sits on the throne, he should be able to read the text, the Torah, and his guideline for living should be coming out of Torah. He shouldn't be looking at the book talking about, one of our presidents. First, one Chronicles, holding the book upside down. No, he should be reading it, writing it, and reciting it, so that when he speaks, his words should be Torah driven. He takes the statutes and he writes them down in the last 3 words in verse 19 to do them. verse 20.
That his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Yisra'el.
All right, let's go to 18. Because now we're going to talk about the priests a little bit.
The priests, the Leviim, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Yisra'el. They shall eat the offerings of Yahuwah made by fire and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahuwah is their inheritance, as he has said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep. And they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks, and the maw. The first fruit also of your grain, of your wine, and of your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep shall you give him. For Yahuwah your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes to stand to minister in the name of Yahuwah, him and his sons forever.
So Yah doesn't want you to walk around with sackcloth and ashes as a moray, as a as a priest or as a follower of Yah. He's never asked us to walk around looking like I need $1. Actually, all his, if you follow the Yah's heart, you'll see that he wanted his priest to have the best of meals because he was eating the best of the lamb. He wanted him to have the best of the oils. He wanted them to have live a clean life. He didn't have, and he was given things to, so it wasn't a burden for him to consider, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? God was taking care of them. And this was a sample of the way that righteous people would live. And if that person, if the priest was never given a mansion. The priest was never given tax exempt. And then yet a payroll. I've known people that have churches and they're like, I built this $1 million facility, so I should be getting paid just like somebody that built $1 million factory. And it was hard to argue with that because you took a little teeny church and you turned it into a mega church until you read the text here. Y'all frowns on that. When you have poor amongst you and yet one person is living large, but yet he doesn't want him to be begging for $1. Just a thought. Where are we at? 6?
Yes. Verse 6. And if a Levi come from any of your gates out of all Yisra'el where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place where Yahuwah shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahuwah your Elohim, as all his brethren the Leviim do, which stand there before Yahuwah. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which comes of the sale of his patrimony. When you are come into the land which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of the nations.
We need to pay attention to what's coming up next. When we were in Jeremiah 10, he said, don't learn the ways of the heathen. Did you think that that was the only place where that would be found in the book? Well, that's when he's talking about building the Christmas trees, bringing the Christmas trees in the house, bringing the trees, what we were just reading earlier, bringing the tree into your house and decorating it. He's like, no, that's the way of the heathens. And so right here, he's like, do not learn to do after the abominations of the heathens, of the nation. Verse 10.
There shall not be found among you anyone that makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or one that practices sorcery, or an enhancer, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
Ooh. If you look at in the evening, if you turn on what is it? 17, whatever channel 17 is.
CW.
Yeah,
CW.
WB or something, yeah.
BW, WB,
CW.
CW, there it is. When you turn on that, you need to run. You need to know. They got one called Charm. They got one called Lucifer. They got one called, start naming them out. There's like a whole litany of demon shows. It's like, are you serious? Everything, no, I'm not going to say everything, but a good portion of what they're teaching is witchcraft, demonic forces, demons, calling up people from the dead. And that's just one aspect. So you're taking your child and you're leading them nine movies, full-fledged movies, each movie with about maybe 3.5 hours of this witchcraft. What is it? The little boy with the broom.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. 9 of them. And some of us are fools for letting our kids go to see them. Actually, some of us actually take them. Some of us have bought books. Let me give you the book because these are really great reading books. And I'm like, did I say, I want to say donkey, but the other word. Because you're a fool. Because the book right there says, don't let your kids go through the fire. And you're like, but it's just a book. It's just a child's book. Wrong. It's demonic. And know why it's so good? Because he know how to flavor it up and make it so good. There are people that are dying from eating too much ice cream. Know why? It tastes so good. Gallons of it at a time. Because and they're fat as a pig. Because they can't stop it. Because it tastes so good. Pig! They can't stop it because and that rack is mine. You're going to eat the whole rack? And I know that to be true because I used to do it. And some people are with the shrimp. So he's going to make it taste good. He's going to flavor it up. He's going to put it in a book. He's going to make it so that it doesn't look like your kid is actually going in the fire. The school systems. And you're sending your kids to the fire. Controlled, operated, and manifest by demons. Verse 11, are a charmer. It literally has charm sounds good, doesn't it? You know, like a charmer does with a snake. They call them charmers, right? Where they would take a snake and they have the rattlesnake stand up and they almost hypnotize him, and he just stand there. He won't bite him. He just stand there. He just and that's what's happening to us today. And we're letting our kids go through the fire. No one's checking the books to see what are you reading? No one's checking the phones to see what are you looking at. No one's checking. It's just like let them go. They're that's why the fool gets on the TV yesterday and says, my daughter's not a thug. Well, your daughter just burned down the school. My daughter's not a thug. Your daughter's shooting at the police officers with an AK-47. My daughter's not a thug. Your daughter's only 14 years old. Okay? Don't learn the ways of the heathen. Get away from them. Verse 12.
For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahuwah, and because of these abominations, Yahuwah your Elohim drives them out from before you. You shall be perfect with Yahuwah your Elohim. For these nations which you shall possess hearkened unto sorcerers and unto diviners. But as for you, Yahuwah your Elohim has not suffered you to do so. Yahuwah your Elohim will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken.
Okay, I'm going to finish this up soon, but for these nations which you shall possess, hearken unto sorcerers. These people, there's actually people that listen to sorcerers and to dividers. They're turning cards over. But as for you, I suffer you not to do it. Just don't do it. This is verse 14. And then he says, I'm going to raise up prophets. And yes, last week we talked about people keeping the Nazirite vow, and we talked about the prophets. And so in Amos, I said we should have read there the second chapter. He said that you suffer the prophets and the Nazirites not to prophesy, because when they prophesy, you don't like what they're saying to you, and you're like forcing them. Please don't. All right. So let's see, because he's going to give you an outline for the prophets, just like he did for the kings. Come on.
18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I have commanded him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other Elohim, even that prophet shall die.
And now he's going to break it down, because somebody's thinking, I know this is talking about Yahushua, right? Because he said, I'm going to raise up a prophet. So let's read on before we come to a conclusion. All right. But he says, some will speak presumptuously. Let's see what happens. Verse 21.
And if you say in your heart, how shall we know the word which Yahuwah has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of Yahuwah, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahuwah has not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him.
Okay, so here's the deal. A lot of us are afraid of a pastor or a prophet or someone that has a book in front of them, because they think that they're telling you something that they may be of God. And if they tell you something and it don't come to pass, you ain't got to worry about that dude. Y'all got to wait. Y'all will handle him. The battle is not ours. The battle's y'all's. Don't be afraid. 19. I know. I plan, we have a short period of time. I plan on just walking through to 21. Not reading all 21, but 19 and 20. Come on, let's go.
When Yahuwah your Elohim has cut off the
You need a glass of
nation,
water?
no.
Okay.
When Yahuwah your Elohim has cut off the nation, whose land Yahuwah your Elohim gives you, and you succeed them and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall separate 3 cities for you in the midst of your land, which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you to possess it. You shall prepare a way and divide the coast of your land, which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you to inherit, into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the slayer which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso kills his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in time past, as when a man goes into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetches a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the helve, and lights upon his neighbor that he die, he shall flee unto one of those cities and live. Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer while his heart is high, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he was not worthy of death. And so Innis hated him not in time past.
Okay, so you can check with the man's heart. You know if that person's wicked. And here's the situation at hand. Every death should not be judged in the same manner. The problem that we have in our society where we live is that nothing seems to be done fair for us. But if we had our own land, we would be able to look at each other, and if somebody was in our community and they were hanging out together and they just swung an axe and was chopping wood and the axe head fell off and the person and hit the other person and he died, we know that wasn't intentional. And you know how we are. We're not going to just let that go because we're like, you killed my brother and we're going to come after you. And so then the next thing we do is y'all set it up so that we would have a scapegoat. We'd have a place to go. We'd have a city, a refuge city to go to run for safety. Verse 8.
And if Yahuwah enlarge your coast as he has sworn unto your fathers, and give you all the land which he promised to give unto your fathers, if you shall guard all these commandments to do them, which I command you this day, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, and to walk ever in his ways, then shall you add 3 cities more for you besides these 3, that innocent blood be not shed in your land, which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance, and so blood be upon you. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally, that he die, and flees into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence there, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die.
You know what? When someone comes and does something raw, evil in America to us, the first thing they do is come and bring a reporter and stick a mic in front of our mouth and say, how do you feel about this? Oh, I forgive him. That's not Tav. That's not righteous. That's not the way that we operated. You take my son, I take yours. That you hear that, and now you're like, whoa, my son didn't do it. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Know what? You won't be taking somebody else's son again. Or I'll take your life. And this is justice, okay? So watch the justice system work. Because this is what we're looking at justice. In the United States, they used to say this in the 60s. If you go to prison, you're going to see just us. And guess what? It's gotten worse. Yeah, there's some of them, but for the most part, it's just us. Okay, I want to show you just this. Verse 13.
Your eyes shall not pity him, but you shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Yisra'el, that it may go well with you. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in your inheritance, which you shall inherit in the land that Yahuwah your Elohim gives you to possess it. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin. In any sin that he sins, at the mouth of two witnesses or at the mouth of three witnesses shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong.
You're going to love this. You're going to love this. What happens if somebody tries to testify and say you did something wrong? Verse 17.
Then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahuwah, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and has testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shall you put the evil away from among you.
If you thought, I'm going to set this brother up, and when I get done, they're going to stone his butt, and then I'll be done with him, and then I can do whatever I need to do, and then they find out, oh, that guy's not guilty, you guilty. So, but all I did was I made a false. Okay, you got me. It's a false accusation. I wasn't sworn in by the Bible. You know, you put your hand on the Bible, and they say if you swear in, and now anything you say is serious. Before it wasn't, right? And they get you for what is it, Adrian? Perjury. They get created a word for it. We're gonna get you for perjury. But if you get caught for perjury, your guilt is not equal to the crime that's being pushed out. So the crime here was if someone was going to be sentenced to death and you were found false witnessing, testifying against them. Now, here's the deal. When Yahushua died, he had false witnesses. When Shaul was brought to court, he had false witnesses. We just go back a couple of weeks ago and we listened to the text. They were like, Paul, I think he was taking people into the temple, and he shouldn't do that. He needed to be put to death. Everybody that opened their mouth ought to be put to death because they were lying. This is our rules. Our rules are unique. Our justice system came from a just being, from a just Yah. Verse 19.
Then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shall you put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And your eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
I love that verse. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. And you don't have pity on the fool. Verse 20, chapter 20.
When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses and chariots and a people more than you, be not afraid of them, for Yahuwah your Elohim is with you, which brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it shall be when you come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Yisra'el, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint. Fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For Yahuwah your Elohim is he that goes with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it.
Okay, hold on. So now we've shifted roles. And now we're looking at what happens when you want to go, if you have to go to war. Because he's looking at a nation and he knows this nation is is a group of people, and eventually there's going to be situations where there's going to be a battle, there's going to be war. So if there's going to be war, how do we manage that? And you're going to see something, I believe, if you pay attention, you're going to see something really unique in the way that we manage warfare. And you're going to see polar opposite of the way the United States and Israel and some of these other countries manage warfare. Okay, so if you are getting ready to go into battle and you have a house, he just starts talking out about, this man bought this house. And he hasn't dedicated, he hasn't gotten it all together and put, lock the doors up and make sure that everything is secure and had his little party. It's like, you know what? You should go and take care of that. Because your mind would always be thinking like, man, I never even finished fixing my house. All right, so let's read some more. Verse 6.
And what man is he that has planted a vineyard and has not eaten of it? Let him also go and return into his house, lest he die in the battle and another man eat of it. What man is there that has betrothed a woman and has not taken her? Let him go and return into his house, lest he die in the battle and another man take her.
So y'all's like, you know what? You grow in a garden. We don't need all of you guys to come out in the fight. If you got yourself a little garden, you haven't tasted the fruit of it, just stay, chill, take care of that. And then if you got a wife and you just got married and you haven't, did that thing that married people do, like maybe you need to stay there and chill with her for a minute. Yah is concerned about the little things in our life as well as the big things. He wants you to be pleased in your walk. It shouldn't be a hard thing to walk in Torah. It actually should be a pleasant thing. It should be tav. It should be good. It should be like, haha, Shabbat's coming. Running around crazy excited because Shabbat is coming. It should be, your household should be in order and smooth. I mean, you're going to have some struggles, some things happen, but Yah's like, I want to work with you on all the little issues. So if you got a wife and you have not taken her, you know what that means, right? He's like, you need to go take care of your business. Verse 20. 8, verse 8.
And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return into his house, lest his brother's heart faint as well as his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they may make captains of the armies to lead the people.
Okay, so if you are, we have to be straightforward. Not everybody is a warrior. Some of us are kind of timid, and some of us are kind of soft. And he's like, we don't need you. We don't need you out here, dude. You're going to be scared. You got people that when you drop the ink pen, they're like, oh, what was that? You need to go home. Some of us have grown up under mommy's skirt and they have never learned how to go out and be a man. So that's okay. We're not talking about you, but you're just not fit for this condition right now. we need men right now to battle. And you just don't fit the criteria, right? That's okay. You know that Yah is actually looking at us and he sees every aspect of us. He knows that some of us wouldn't know what to do with a gun if we had one. Don't know how to punch. Right? It's like, this is not for you. And you will actually make the people around you weak. You know, you get a good basketball player, a really good basketball player, and they make the other good basketball players, they're good. But if you get a superstar, he makes them excellent. He builds them up. So everybody's game steps up a notch. And if you got somebody that is that's not, we used to have one on the Sixers. He was soft. Every day he came out, he said, "My feet hurt. I can't." You know what? And the team couldn't elevate because of him. They had to get rid of his butt. I'm not mentioning his name, but there are some people that are soft. That's just who they are. But if you want to go into battle, you need to be battle ready, or you're going to lead other people and make them soft. Verse 10.
When you come nigh into a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make you answer of peace and open unto you, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto you, and they shall serve you. And if it will make no peace with you, but will make war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when Yahuwah your Elohim has delivered it into your hands, you shall smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones and the cattle and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shall you take unto yourself, and you shall eat the spoil of your enemies, which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. Thus shall you do unto all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not of the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people, which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance. You shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall utterly destroy them, namely the Chittaim and the Amorim and the Cananim and the Perizim and the Shebim and the Yebusim, as Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you.
Now, I have a question. I thought y'all's not peculiar of a person. You know, he's just like everybody's equal, right? How come there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nations here? I count 6 nations?
Yeah.
6 nations that Yah says destroy them utterly. Why do you think that Yah would pick out 6 nations and say destroy them? Everything. Nothing shall survive. Destroy everything. I know you can't answer me because I'm on TV. Yah is more than just, Yah is righteous in all his aspects. So if Yah can look at a nation and say, this nation is just wicked, destroy it, that nation has done something against Israel as a people. And when you look at these people, these nations, you're going to find these nations all have done evil to Israel.
And there was another reason too that they said that those nations were descendants of the Nephilim. They had intermixed with, they were hybrid nations. They were intermixed with the giants or whatever, and so they weren't
fully human.
Fully human, exactly. They were in a sanctioned group, so they didn't merit salvation or even life, actually.
Right, and Yah says that these people are, and I was right and you were right. These people are totally against Yah, and it is against Yah's people, and they're not even fully human. I would go a little further with that because there's still some today. Yah says in Genesis 6, there were Nephilim in the land. before the flood and after. There's still some of these lingering people around, and don't want to get in Facebook jail, but there's a whole lot of them still around. And when Yah passes judgment, then we ought not to have pity. When I start seeing the multitudes falling, I'm like, okay, Yah, you're doing your thing. You're doing your thing, Yah. And we should stand back and be ever so mindful that it could hit us if we don't walk right. So just walk right, stay in formation. That's my word for you today. Stay in formation. Don't veer off to the left or to the right. Stay in, do what Yah has called you to do. Stay in order. Where are we at? 19?
18.
18.
That they teach you not to do after all their abominations which they have done unto their Elohim, so should you sin against Yahuwah your Elohim.
Sorry, go back to 17 and read 17 and 18 together, because when we break it up, it says,
But you shall utterly destroy them, namely the Chittim and the Amorim and the Canaanite and the Perizim and the Shivim and the Yebusim, as Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you, that they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their Elohim. So should you sin against Yahuwah your Elohim. When you shall besiege a city a long time, in making war against it to take it, you shall not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for you may eat of them, and you shall not cut them down. For the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege.
okay, so let me show you what y'all's really kind of saying here. Because some people, first, before you go to battle, you should negotiate. You should be talking. They're not talking about these six, but any other situation, you should be negotiating with them and saying, let's talk this thing over. And if you can't go there, then you go into the battle. But when you go into battle, you still respect the land. Respect the land. Yah says, respect my land. Like, you don't just drop bombs all over the place because you feel like you're being threatened. Okay, so look at this. Verse 20.
Only the trees which you know that they will not be trees for meat, you shall destroy and cut them down, and you shall build bulwarks against the city that made war with you until it be subdued.
So if there's the structure, the inner structure, the planet, y'all's like, you don't have a beef with the planet. Why are you destroying trees? There's nations that will just destroy anything around. They don't give about anything. We don't, our laws are different. That's why when you can look at Israel over there and you see how they are just dropping bombs on the Palestinians and just killing everything, right? You can see that it's not top. This is downright evil. When you see us going into places like Iraq, looking for weapons of mass destruction, I know that's a lifetime ago, right? I lived it. I watched it. I was like, that's just not right. How many innocent people died because they were looking for weapons of mass destruction, which they never found? My time is expiring because I try not to do it more than 2 hours. But when you read through this, and we're going to pick it up because I want to. There's some stuff in here that we just need to learn. If we don't learn our law, we suffer and we perish. We must learn our law and learn to, because later on it starts talking like, men, you can't dress like women. If we learn that, our men would be like, I may be soft, but I ain't wearing no dress. And y'all be like, okay, I'm good with that. But when you start wearing a dress, it leads you down the road of, okay, now I got to get surgery, or I got to do this. And the next thing you know, you are so far off course. This is the way of the heathen, and we don't do that. The text literally stops us from following the heathen. And you're a fool if you think you can follow the heathen and try to be whatever, a follower of God. You can't do it. That's why Yeshua says you can't serve two masters. It's impossible. You can't serve, what's his name? Two-Face. It was a character on Batman, right? One half of his face was smooth and clean, and the other side was all messed up from some acid. And he flipped the coin. And at any given moment, the coin would land on the bad side, and he would be the evil person. He flip it, he turn it over, and he was the good person. It's fantasy. You either following Torah and keeping y'all's commandments, or you flip the coin and you're on the wrong side. I'm pretty much done for today. That's it. If you are a believer of Yah, it's imperative that you that you read his book, that you read it, because the reading is going to help you first to get some of it into your cranium. But then you must study it, because it's the lack of studying, it's the lack of knowledge which causes us to fail, falter, fail, falter, fail, falter, fail. It's like driving a car with a bad wiring or a bad spark plug. It's not going to run smoothly. But when you start studying it and start reading it and start studying it, and you start realizing that, oh, we're not supposed to do that. We don't do that. We don't do. You start seeing some of the things that these heathens are doing, these nasty heathens that are going to hell. You start following them. You're going right along with them. Y'all's already given us directions, guidance, and guidelines for living. It's found in Torah, but we have to study it. We have to look at it. And you see right there that there's some things that we would look at and we're like, I wouldn't do that. The more you go into that Deuteronomy 21, 22, the more you start reading that, you start seeing that there's some things that Yah has asked us, just clearly told us don't do. The law is not hard. That's a lie from the devil or from these demonic people. The law is tav, it's good, it's for correct, telling you what to do and how to live your life. And Yah is I have a few seconds. Yah is concerned with even the minor details in your life. Why do you think he's telling the man, we can ready to go to war, but you need to stay home because you haven't, you know, I mean, that's how cool is that? You know, even in the in Malachi, when he talks about bringing your tithes and you can't get to Jerusalem, and he says, take those tithes, those offerings that we were talking about bringing. He says, if you can't bring the offerings to me because of whatever's happening in your life, he says, take those tithes, cash it in because they were fruit, they were vegetables, they were the substance that you had purchased. Maybe it could even be a goat or something. You take all that and you sell it, and then you have yourself a party and celebrate with me. Get yourself some strong drink. Celebrate with me. Get yourself some, you know. It says it in the book. It's like, whoa. I grew up Baptist. We were told not to drink. I grew up Presbyterian, and we were follow y'all. And down that I said that if you have an alcohol problem, then don't drink. Use your common sense. To take your wife to a hotel and four-star hotel or something and have yourself a great time. Go to the shows, whatever you got to do. Y'all want you to enjoy life. I've come to give you life and have it more abundantly. When you're walking in Torah, you should be walking in the more abundant life. Hallelujah. So I've got to go. I've got to go. Meet you next week. I said I will be traveling, so I'm going to try to. I may even do a midweek thing. You may see me pop up sometime this week. But if you get an alert, hit the share, hit the likes, you know, all those good things, so that we get moved up in the scale a little bit, and people can come and look at what we do. Hallelujah! And we're looking forward to seeing you guys in a week, talking to you again live on YouTube. Um, Hopefully, when the weather breaks a little bit, and in 2 weeks we'll be out at the park and we'll do something together again, and that should be good. That should be good. Right now, I'm going to say shalom. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this Shabbat, and get ready for some NBA action because I'm a basketball fan, and see what's going on in the world. Hallelujah. May the Ruach be with you. May his presence be. Hopefully, you hear that small voice telling you which way to go. Go to the right, go to the left. So you stay on course. And may Yah's face smile upon you. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.